What's going on, guys? Richard from Animal Performance, just dropping you another video. So on this video I want to discuss the topic of veganuary and also the Netflix documentary Game Changers. Now, as of late, especially since that documentary Game Changers, I have had quite a lot of interaction and just general emails from people asking me about my opinions on veganism and vegetarianism in terms of being optimal for kind of performance and optimal in general, and how consuming a meat-based diet can kind of be all-roundly negative, not just on health but performance also. So firstly, I'm going to discuss the topic of the film. As ever, Netflix produced a very slick, very well filmed documentary. I mean, the program quality that they produce is just insane these days, especially their documentary series. I feel like it's such an entertainment valued kind of program base they got. It's exceptional. As for the content of the documentary, I feel like a lot of the information and the studies produced were questionable at best. Bearing in mind, guys, this is my own opinions. I think a lot of people who used that documentary as almost a scare tactic or a program to literally shock the hell out of you, like quoting facts of something in the region of so many hundreds of thousands or millions of litres of water are needed to be consumed to produce one hamburger and so on. The maths just doesn't add up. It's absolutely insane. In terms of some of the tests and studies they did, I think the one of the most famous and the most recognised ones they did was the blood test, where one sample of blood, which was from the vegan or vegetarian based option, and then the one that had the meat based option had a lot more cloudiness to it, and it was a lot less clear. This is essentially down to lipids in the blood produced from potentially all the saturated fat that you'd find in consuming the meat. It's not an issue to be worried about or concerned about. It's just produced from the thing that you're eating. It's not creating a massive detriment to your health whatsoever. So I think a lot of the information produced by that program was kind of magnified and looked at a particular way, where it ignored the fundamentals of the fact of, yes, there is a time to time benefit. So if you consume a lot of meat all the time, you're a typical kind of gym bro or bodybuilder or so on, I think it is a very, very good idea for you to recalculate exactly how much protein you're consuming. Because, guys, anyone who's telling you to eat over 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, it's not necessary. There's no founded science to prove that is going to yield more optimal results than eating 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. The only kind of benefit that has been found is that if you're on a very calorie restricted diet, that eating a maximum threshold of 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight can kind of help reduce signs of hunger and possible extreme muscle wastage. And that's not in every case. That's not in every single person. So anything over 1 gram per pound of body weight is really excessive and almost to the point of being pointless. I myself, after watching that documentary, I kind of made the decision that possibly I was eating more protein than was actually required. And since reducing my protein intake, I have noticed that I don't feel as stodgy after meals. I feel my hunger, increases between my meals as I eat 4 meals a day. you don't want to end up having to eat again when you're not hungry whatsoever. It's not a nice position to be in. And also, my overall impact on just livestock and animal rights in general. I understand what a lot of people are saying in terms of, if they're like me and you say, oh, I'm an animal lover, but then that's a bit hypocritical coming from people like me and other people who eat animal products, because if you're an animal lover, it doesn't have to be a cat or dog. You just love animals in general. And if that's the case, you would probably refrain from eating a cow or a sheep or a pig or a chicken or whatever. So I think you have to be quite careful in terms of the terminology or the kind of label you're giving yourself. I'm a very domesticated animal lover, but then that's not warranting enough of a response in me to want to give up eating meat. I enjoy meat. I enjoy the flavor. It's very kind of convenient and adequate for my lifestyle. If you're someone who can't bear the thought of you being directly responsible for harming any animal of any description, then obviously being a vegetarian or vegan is a good option, and all power to you. If you've got the strength of character to put a other living being over yourself, then you are a far more righteous and moral person than myself, and my hat goes off to you. And statistically speaking, you are far more likely to succeed at maintaining that vegan or vegetarianism diet for the sake of animal rights than you are doing it purely for the sake of your health. Statistically, you're far greater at sticking with it. Most people who just try these ways of eating on a purely health basis, you don't last the course, and that's what the numbers dictate. It doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a weak person. It's just what the numbers are saying. So with the documentary itself, I think you have to be very careful how certain professionals will read into a study and extract certain facts and figures from it. You're better off, obviously, take an interest, look at the program, take on board the information, come into it with an open mind. But if you're coming in to that argument with an open mind, you must also look at the counter argument and the counter evidence with also an open mind. That's the only way you can give yourself the kind of best tools to make an informed decision, is looking at both sides of the argument and not taking up one side immediately on hearing that information. As it goes, so we're going to address the issue of veganuary. So at the start of the year, it seems like a huge amount of people pledge, this is a new year, fresh start. They're going to transform who they are, try their best and fulfill a load of goals, aims, and conquer some bad habits or achieve something that they haven't achieved before. And by all means, crack away, guys. Obviously, there are a few things you can put in place that will give you a lot greater chance. So planning your goals through thoroughly, obviously, is quite beneficial. If you're just trying to wing it, you're going to really struggle. Not overshooting. By limiting the kind of height of the goal you're after, try and kind of use goals as stepping stones along the journey to a possibly even much greater goal that requires you to take it step by step. Things like giving up smoking, contact professionals, get as much information and as much help as you can, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's quite a hard thing to do, to give up anything that has been a large part of your life or something that's potentially designed to be very addictive. Sugar, cigarettes, caffeine, nicotine, whatever. It's these products have been spent a huge amount of money on to make them as addictive as possible. So you continuously consume them and you're never going to stop consuming them. And B, once you've had a little bit, is to make and ensure you finish that whole product as fast as possible, so you're buying more of it. So you're increasing the amount of money that these people are making. So in terms of wanting to try being a vegan or a vegetarian over January, I honestly think that if it's something you were genuinely interested in, by all means, there are plenty of sources of information. There are plenty of leads on YouTube, plenty of leads with different health professionals throughout the industry. I'm sure that probably in your local area there's either a nutritionist or a dietitian that specialize in either one of those fields, and the money that it'll cost you to have a meeting or a consultation with these people potentially will set you up for a massive win. So surely it's worth that small initial contribution to setting yourself up to get the best result possible. I think that if you're one of these people that says, "Oh, I'm just going to go to Tesco or Morrison's or Aldi or Lidl or so on, and just buy the Linda McCartney this or the vegan pre-made meal that or whatever," you're really missing the point of being a vegetarian or a vegan. These two collections of people are highly intelligent where it comes to food, especially vegans. If you know of someone who's been a long time vegan, or it's kind of been their family trait of being a vegan throughout the different generations, these people are exceptionally intelligent of their food programming and also how they extract flavor from a very reduced way of eating. These people have a ridiculous skill set where nutrition comes into it. And the likelihood is, if you're doing it just because it's like the newest in thing, or it's kind of a loose fad and you want to be part of it or something of that nature, you're probably not going to look into it as much as possible. So, for example, with a vegan, you need to have a certain amount of supplementation in your diet to make up for the foods you're lacking in your diet. So, for example, vitamin B12, but a lot of us, including the meat eaters, could do with increasing your B12 vitamin. Vitamin D3, obviously, especially living in the UK, our exposure to sunlight is not the best. I actually superdose vitamin D3, where I'm taking between 12,000 and 16,000 IU a day. And anyone who tells you can overdose on vitamin D3, you go to Africa and you tell someone who works outside a lot in the summer, "Oh, you got to go inside because you're having too much D3 exposure." Doesn't work that way. Anyway, and also taking things like creatine while you're on a vegan diet, as it can help improve brain function. As a vegetarian, I believe that there are certain elements of vegetarianism that you need to also supplement different things. I mean, if you're willing to eat fish and other kind of potential protein and other sources other than direct mammals, then you're probably going to be okay, as fish has a very diverse nutritional boundary with omega fatty acids and so on. So as a vegetarian, you'll get away with a lot less than a vegan, whereas a vegan, you need to ensure that you have a handful of these supplements running alongside your healthy eating to ensure you get the best results. In terms of the actual foods you're consuming, you're always going to be better off using single ingredient food and recipes, where you actually have to make these dishes or these meals. They don't have to be long and arduous and take an hour's worth of prepping in the kitchen. There are very fast, very quick, very flavorful options, but it still takes a degree of work. You can't just expect to unbox a meal and put it in the microwave and your health is going to be the optimal it can be. Of course it's not. There's going to be a certain amount of man-made manipulation in that meal to ensure that it tastes exactly right, and has a certain amount of nutritional guidelines in it, whether they're natural or whether they're man-made. So don't miss out on the benefit of the veganism or the vegetarianism by not getting involved in cooking more. If you want to have the benefits from it, you're gonna have to put the effort in from it. It's the same principle as, if you want to gain muscle, you can't just expect to wish it on. And even if you use performance enhancing drugs, without going and doing physical exercise and putting in the effort, you are not going to reap or have any benefit or reward from doing that thing. So yes, by all means, try being a vegan, try being a vegetarian. Understand that is a little bit more complicated than what a lot of these programs or shows or articles are making out. But the effort and the time you spend educating yourself could really pay off. And not only it may be exactly the kind of break your body needs from a high protein or high processed diet that you've been living for the last couple of months, but also it could give you a huge amount of a health benefit just from trying it, and you may really enjoy it. So don't write anything off, guys. I mean, a lot of the clients I have and work with, I've, over the last sort of 6-ish months that I'm working with a handful of people with their nutrition as well as their training. Bearing in mind, I'm not a qualified dietitian and nutritionist. I just work with very basic information and give a very basic layout to assist their goals in terms of the programming that we've put together and designed. So yeah, with that being said, that we now bring in 1, possibly 2 days a week where they are essentially on a vegetarian eating structure that whole day. As eating portions of meat can be inflammatory to your digestive system. It can put a bit of a strain on it, and by having that diversity in your weekly eating and that overturn of extra nutrition and minerals, and it can provide a real good benefit and really accelerate someone's results, especially if weight loss is the goal. And that by having that element of diversity in your weekly eating structure, it can really help speed up things, and the extra fiber can help bowel movements and so on. So there's a lot to be said about these eating structures. Don't write anything off. Try and experience as much as you can and educate yourself as much as you can on all these given topics, because they're all different tools to be utilized in your health and fitness journey. Anyway, guys, I've waffled on enough, and I hope this information gives you some kind of vague idea of the different uses of nutrition and some of the pitfalls and some of the positives also. I will be utilizing and highlighting the link of this in further emails to any kind of description of people asking me my opinion on game changers in a vegan or vegetarian diet. As of yet, I will not be changing my structure because I feel like I'm getting the optimal health as I stand right now. Not to say that I may not look into it in the future. And once my kind of working schedule and my work life possibly changes, give me more available time, I probably will very seriously look at bringing in more vegetarianism into my day-to-day eating. So I hope you find this video very beneficial, guys. Like I said, there'll be hopefully at least 1 to 2 videos being produced every single week on any given topic. If there's a topic that you'd like me to address, please send us a message or comment in the section below. If you like the content that we're producing and you want to see more of us, please hit the subscribe button. It'll really help us out as we're trying to grow this channel as much as we can and give as much free and genuine advice as we possibly can. And don't forget to click the bell button once you subscribe to ensure that you get a notification of our latest and newest video. Please bear with us, guys. I'm aware that the videos are quite raw and quite new. We are looking into streamlining it, getting a bit more of a professional look to the videos with intersecting ads, sound effects, and clipaways. So please bear with us, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.